ऐतिहासिक त्रासदी है जो कि जूलियस सीजर की हत्या और उसके बाद की गृहयुद्ध की कहानी बताती है। नाटक में सीजर की बढ़ती शक्ति से चिंतित होकर कई रोमन रईस, जिनमें सीजर का दोस्त ब्रूटस भी शामिल है, सीजर को मार देते हैं। इसके बाद सीजर के वफादार सहयोगी मार्क एंटनी नागरिकों को भड़काते हैं, जिससे एक गृहयुद्ध छिड़ जाता है जिसमें ब्रूटस और उसके साथी हार जाते हैं और अंत में आत्महत्या कर लेते हैं। मैं आशा करता हूँ कि छात्र छात्राओं की रोचक नाटक प्रस्तुति का आप सभी लोग आनंद उठाएंगे। अब आप सबके समक्ष सुगर सिंह एकेडमी बर्रा के छात्रों द्वारा प्रस्तुति जूलियस सीजर।
So, let's start the play. The scene 1 opens in Brutus' house.
It is good. Go to the gate. Somebody knocks.
Sir, it's your brother Cassius at the door who wants to see you.
Is he alone?
No, sir, there are more with him.
Do you know them?
No, sir, their heads are plucked about their ears and half of their faces are buried in their cloaks.
Let them enter.
I think we are to bowl upon you rest. Good morrow, tutors who will trouble you.
I have been up this hour, awake all night. Know I these men that came along with you?
Pardon, sir. It doth. Pure grey lines, little red, the clouds are messengers of the day. You shall agree that you are both deceived.
Give me your hands all over, one by one.
And let us sorrow our delusions.
No, no, not an oath. If not the face of men, the sufferance of our soul, time abused. Please count the clock. It's time to part.
Whether Caesar come forth or not, we'll all fetch him out.
He loves it well.
The morning comes upon, we shall leave you, Brutus.
Everyone moves out and the scene ends. The scene 2 opens in Caesar's house during a violent thunderstorm.
Nor heaven nor earth have been at peace tonight. Thrice hath Calpurnia in her sleep cried out, "Help, ho, they murder Caesar!"
What mean you, Caesar? Think you to walk forth? You shall not stir out of your house today.
Caesar shall fall. The things that threatened me ne'er looked, but on my back, when they shall see face of the Caesar, they are vanished.
Oh, Caesar, I've never stood on ceremonies. Yet now they fright me. Besides the things we've heard and we've seen, recounts most horrid sights seen by the watch. A lioness hath dwelled in the streets, graves have yawned and yielded up their dead. Fierce, fiery warriors fought upon the cloud in ranks and squadrons, and right form of war, which drizzled blood upon the Capitol. The noise of battle hurtled in the air. Horses did neigh, dying men did groan, and ghosts did shriek and squeal about the streets. Oh Caesar, these things are beyond all use, but I do fear them.
What can be avoided, whose end is purposed by the mighty God? Yet Caesar shall go forth. These predictions are to the world in general. As to Caesar,
When beggars die, there are no comets seen. The heaven themselves blaze for the death of princes.
cowards die many times before their death. The valiant never taste death but once. Of all the wonders I yet have heard, it seems to me most strange that men should fear, seeing that the death, a necessary end, will come when it will come.
Alas, my lord, your wisdom is consumed in confidence. Do not go for today. Call it my fear that keeps you in the house, and not your own. We shall send Mark Antony to the Senate House, and he shall say that you're not well today. Let me, upon my knee, prevail in this.
Enter dashes Brutus.
Caesar, all hail. Morning, mighty Caesar. I come to fetch you to the Senate House.
And you have come in very happy time. So bear my greetings to the senators and tell them that I will not come today.
Say he is sick.
Shall Caesar send a lie? Have I, in conquest, stretched my arms too far to be afraid to tell greybeard the truth?
Most mighty Caesar, let me know some causes. Least I not be laughed in the front of senators.
The cause is in my will. I will let you go, and you are not come to fetch you. And she dreamt tonight. She saw the statue, and many lusty Romans came smiling, and they bathed their hands in it. And these days she applied for warning, and on her knees begged that I will stay at home today.
Sir, this dream is all a misinterpretation. This is a vision, fear, and fortune. Signifies from your great blood, Rome sells her. Your reviving blood, get dressed for the great man's train. And this is Calpurnia's dream is signified.
How foolish do your fear seems now Calpurnia. I am ashamed that I did yield on them. Give me my robe, for I will go.
Scene 2 ends. Now, scene 3, assassination scene.
Caesar, I told you to be aware of the Ides of March. Do you remember?
The Ides of March are come.
Yes, it has come, but not yet gone.
Most high, most mighty, and most puissant Caesar, Metellus Imber, throws before thy seat and humble heart.
I must prevent December. These couching and lowly courtesies might fire the blood of the ordinary man. Thy brother, by decree, is banished. If thou dost bend and pray and fall for him, I will spurn thee like her out of my ways.
Is there no voice more worthy than my own to sound more sweetly in great Caesar's ear for the rappelling of my banished brother?
I kiss thy hand, but not in flattery, Caesar, desiring thee that Publius Imber may have an immediate fit of repeal.
What, Brutus?
Pardon, Caesar, Caesar, pardon.
Speak hands for me.
Oh, et tu, brute.
Liberty, freedom is born, tyranny is dead. Run hands, proclaim and cry about the streets.
Antony pledge allegiance to Brutus and shake hands with the conspirators.
Most mighty Caesar, suppose thou lies alone, for all thy conquests, glories, triumphs, spoils, shrunk to this little measure? Fare thee well. I know not, gentlemen, what you intend. Who else must be let blood? Who is his rank? If I myself, there is no hours of it, as Caesar's death are. O Antony, beg not the death of us, though we must appear bloody and cruel, as by our hand, and this cross is intact. You see we do, but see you, and this, the bleeding business they have done. Our hearts, you see not, they are pitiful, pity to the general wrong of Rome. I doubt not of your wisdom. let each man render me his bloody hand. Therefore, I took your hands, but was indeed straight from the point by looking down on Caesar. Friends, am I with you all and love you all upon this hope that you shall give me reasons why and wherein Caesar was dangerous.
Or else, but to say with the spectacles, our reasons are so full of good regard that by you, Antony, the son of Caesar, you should be satisfied.
That's all I seek, and am moreover suited that I produce his body to the marketplace, and in the pulpits, as becomes a friend, speak in the order of his funeral.
You will, Mark Antony.
Brutus, I word with you. You know not what you do. Do not consent that Antony speak in his funeral. You know how many people will move that what he will utter.
By your pardon, I will myself into the pulpit first and show the reason of our Caesar's death. What Antony shall speak, I will protest. Its advantages more than to us all.
I know not what may fall next. If not,
Mark Antony, here take your Caesar's body. You will not in your funeral speak blamers, but speak all good. You can devise of Caesar and say you don't by our permission.
Scene 3 ends. Now, Brutus introduces himself to the crowd following Caesar's assassination.
बंद तो कर दो।